This episode of Buy Black Podcast is brought to you by Haptic Consulting. Haptic Consulting specializes in maximizing the value your organization gets from its training budget by focusing on business needs, eliminating unnecessary training development, and helping you build a culture of engagement from the executive level down. Visit www.hapticconsulting.com to learn how I can help you develop better leaders, happier employees, and a more profitable company culture. Or you can email me at gerald@hapticconsulting.com. That's GERALD@hapticconsulting.com. Now let's get into the show. Just a heads up, during this episode, we had a little bit of an audio quality problem that I wasn't able to completely fix in editing. So just understand that there may be some times in here where it's a little bit harder to hear Joylynn. However, everything is still audible. You can still get those notes that you're going to need. Also, at the very, very beginning of the episode, as we're coming in the introduction, my evil dog, I've got two of them. One is great, one is evil. And my evil dog is yelping his head off from across the house and upstairs. And unfortunately with him, no matter how far away you are, you're going to be able to hear him when he starts talking. So there's just about a minute of him in the background during the introductions, but then he quiets down for the rest of the show. Other than that, you guys enjoy.
I don't care if you bake cakes in your kitchen. If it's a how-to manual, teach me how to bake that cake. There's some IP. There's some intellectual property. There's something you have, some information you have that's going to help me make a better tasting cake. It's going to help me make a cake that's not going to burn, but there's something you have that's going to help me. It doesn't always have to be a tangible item. It doesn't always have to be service. It doesn't even have to be a printed book. But there is something you have. It can be an electronic how-to 10-page manual that I can download for 99 cents that is going to help me, because people don't necessarily care about who you are. People care about what you do and how what you do can help.
Buy Black Podcast, episode 45. Act like an author, think like a business, with Joylynn M. Ross. Welcome to Buy Black, the only podcast dedicated to helping you find, connect with, and support Black-owned businesses. We're on a mission to bring consumers and business owners together to ignite the global Black economy. I'm your host, Gerald Jones, and if you're a Black business owner or a socially conscious consumer, you've joined the right community. Ready? Let's get to work. Hey everybody, welcome back to Buy Black, your only podcast dedicated to helping you find and connect with Black-owned businesses. This will be episode number 45 of Buy Black, Build the New Black Wall Street. Guys, we are coming up on 50. We are coming up on 1 year of this podcast, and it just keeps getting better and better. I'm so glad you guys have stuck with me through this time, and I just love to keep seeing the numbers grow and grow as you guys are sharing it out there. You're reaching out, and you're connecting me with new business owners to get on the show. This has just been an awesome experience, and we're going to keep the fun rolling today. Today's episode, if you are out there and you feel like you have a book inside of you, I don't care if it's because you want to be an author by trade, or if you need to get a story outside of yourself, if you need to create a book to show your expertise in a field, whatever it is, if you want to be an author or feel that you need to be an author in your industry, this is the episode for you. My guest today is Ms. Joylynn M. Ross. She is a established author, publisher, editor, consultant. She has done it all in the industry of publishing. And today she's coming on the show to share with us a lot of information about how we can get prepared for our book rather than waiting for our book to be ready to get started working. And all of this is also in a lead up to a conference that she has going here in September that we're going to be talking about later on the show as well. But again, if you feel like you have a book inside of you, you definitely need to listen to this episode, be ready to take notes, and then you also need to find pathtopublishing.com and you need to look for Joylynn's upcoming Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business conference so you can get prepared, get ready for your book. So without any further ado, we're going to jump straight into the interview. You guys enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome back to Buy Black, your only podcast dedicated to helping you find and connect with Black-owned businesses. Today, we are going to be connecting with another great guest for you guys in the community. With me on the phone, I have Joylynn M. Ross, better known as the BLESSEDSelling Author, E.N. Joy, and she is the writer behind several best-selling book series, to include the New Day Divas book series, the Still Divas book series, and the Always Divas book series. Oh, and wait a second, we've also got the Forever Divas book series, all of which have been coined soap operas in print. Joylynn has been in this business for quite a while, and now she's beyond writing on her own, also consulting and sharing with the community how to become better authors and more successful authors. Joylynn, thank you so much for joining me on the show.
Thank you so much, Gerald, for having me. I really appreciate you. Thank you for putting me before your audience, and thank you for everyone who is tuning in. I never take anyone's time for granted, so I hope to fill this show with a lot of literary jewels and nuggets that will help you either get on your path to publication or stay on the right path.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that is basically what we are going to jump right into. So before I hand it over to you, I just want to let the people know, hey, have your pen and paper ready to take those notes. And also, I want you to be thinking ahead to this coming fall. And you're going to hear a little bit later in the show why you need to keep some dates open for yourself in the fall if you are looking to be in this writing business. But enough of me running my mouth. Joylynn, thank you so much for coming to share what you've got. I'm going to let you do just that. Let the folks know a little bit more about your background and just take it from here.
Well, I'm Joylynn M. Ross. I am writing as BLESSEDSelling Author E.N. Joy. I'm a literary consultant, publishing coach, self-publishing companion, and I am the main instructor for the Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business 2018 conference. I now write Christian fiction, again under BLESSEDSelling Author E.N. Joy, but prior to transitioning to Christian fiction, I wrote secular works under the name Joylynn Jossel and Joy, J-O-Y, all caps, and I write children's and middle grade books under the name N. Joy. So when I'm not writing or penning my own novels or my own literary works, I am putting my 2 cents into other authors' work because I am an editor by trade. I do both freelance editing, and I've worked with the major publishing houses out of New York. I've worked with smaller publishers. So I'm everything literary. I've been on almost every corner of the literary map. So I coined myself as the literary chauffeur because who better to chauffeur you to your final literary destination? Who better to chauffeur you towards literary success? So this is the season where I'm putting my pen down altogether, and I am picking up my ruler. I'm picking up my pointer, and I'm teaching other authors not only how to publish like pros, how to build their books, but how to build their book businesses and how to create multiple streams of income to sustain those book businesses.
Okay, so wow. You had me at energy, but that last sentence, you just made me very excited to learn a little bit more about specifically this path, because I think for all of us out here, even those of us who aren't authors by trade, you know, there's an expectation that when you get into the coaching business or the consulting business, you've got a book behind you, right? You've got a book to show that you're an expert in your field. And I think for a lot of us who weren't born writers, the process of making that book is one thing, and then figuring out how to market it and how to turn it into multiple streams of income is another. So talk to me a little bit more about that. How can this conference that you have coming up, how can it help those of us who maybe don't want to be in the book business, but we know we've got to have a book to be in our business?
Absolutely, absolutely. And, at the end of the day, the money isn't in the book, okay? I love books. I love the written word. Authors, we're literary artists, we're literary entertainers, we're literary architects building literary empires. But the money is not in the book. The money is in the business that you build from the book. And that goes to consulting, that goes to speaking, whatever industry you are in, and you want to be that go-to person. You want to be that expert in your industry. Well, what better way to validate your expertise than by having that book? And not only having that book to validate your expertise, but it is an extension. Again, it is another stream of income. Let's say you're a consultant, you're a coach, you're a paid speaker. Well, when you leave that one-on-one session, or when you leave that conference room, or wherever, what have you, you need an extension. You need your voice to carry on. And you don't want to just give people this information and then they have nothing else. We've all been to these conferences where we were moved, we were excited, we were pumped up, we were energized. And then the next day, and then the day after that, and then the day after that, there was nothing else. There was no extension. And so that book, somebody comes to you and say, hey, I hear you're, the expert at this. Am I the expert? Heck, I wrote the book on it. But to be able to say that and mean it, for it not to be a cliche, it holds so much weight, so much volume, and so much validity for entrepreneurs, whatever business you are in. I don't care if you bake cakes in your kitchen. If it's a how-to manual, teach me how to bake that cake. There's some IP. There's some intellectual property. There's something you have, some information you have that's going to help me make a better tasting cake. It's going to help me make a cake that's not going to burn, but there's something you have that's going to help me. It doesn't always have to be a tangible item. It doesn't always have to be service. It doesn't even have to be a printed book. But there is something you have. It can be an electronic how-to 10-page manual that I can download for 99 cents that is going to help me, because people don't necessarily care about who you are. People care about what you do and how what you do can help. So I need everybody to think about, okay, what is it that I do? Forget about who I am and forget about people wanting to know my name. This isn't Cheers. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. This isn't Cheers. This is the real world. This is the business world. Forget about everybody knowing your name, and for people to know you for how you help, how you can help. And don't think for 1 minute that how-to, that idea, that thought, that concept, that testimony, that story, that it's too small, that no one would care. There's a saying called your riches are in your niches. Find those people who need what you have. Find those people who need what you have and share it. Share that information. And that's why I love social media. I love that everybody puts their business all over social media. I love that everyone puts their problems on social media, because I'm here to help and I'm a problem solver. And if you're in business, you're here to help and you're a problem solver. So you should be one of those people trolling social media, trying to figure out what is the problem people in your industry are having. What is the problem? What is the issue? Again, going back to baking, are the white cakes dry? What can you do? What tip? What can you share that's going to keep my white cake from not being dry? And then take that intellectual property, put a price tag on it. Yes, I know our intellectual property is priceless, but you have to put a price tag on it if you want to move it. If you want to move that message, that thought, that idea, that concept, you have to put that price tag on it. You cannot be afraid to share with other people what you know. Again, just don't be afraid to charge them for a lesson. And it doesn't have to be some 300-page novel, some 300-page self-help book. It can be a 5-10-page manual. It can be a 1-page downloadable PDF. People just want help. People want help. People are staying up at night with problems, with issues. And your goal as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, that should be what wakes you up in the morning, solving the problem that keeps people up at night. And I know that's what it is for me. And you have perpetual learners. What do perpetual learners, what resource do perpetual learners go to learn?
Books.
Books.
That's
Books.
me. I'm definitely that guy.
Books.
I'll go to Barnes & Noble. I'll walk out with 4 new books, and I'll have them read by the end of the month. It's just whenever I feel stagnant and like I haven't learned something recently, or I've already used everything I've learned in the last few months, I gotta go buy new books. I gotta find something new to learn so I can try. I'm one of those perpetual learner type people.
Absolutely. And so that book, that intellectual property. And again, it doesn't have to be that tangible. It doesn't have to be that printed book. It can be audio. It can be the ebook. It can be Braille. I mean, get the message out there. Find out who your audience is, how they like to receive information, where they are hanging out. Go to them. May I help you? That's so easy. We think we have to work at McDonald's or Burger King's or behind a counter to say, how may I help you? I love it when I just hear, how may I help you? When someone asks me that, it just moves me. It moves me. So if you know you can help someone, if you have information, how can I help you? And then deliver that information. And the easiest way to deliver that information now is by putting it in a book, by putting it in print, by putting it in a publication in many different formats. So that's the building the book part.
Love it. I love
That's the building the book part. And I know I went off here and there and everywhere, but I try to bring everything back full circle, and I'll apologize up front.
No.
I'm so passionate about this. I'm so passionate.
That is perfect. So you said something a little ways back. You said, don't be afraid to teach people what you know, but you can't be afraid to charge them for the lesson. Man, let me tell you, I'm calling you man. I got so into it that I'm calling this beautiful woman man, because that's what came out of me. When I heard that, I was like, Gerald, quit being afraid to charge them for the lesson. You are a teacher by trade. So I love that.
Right.
I love that.
We can't be afraid. We got to remove the shame from making money with our gifts and our talent. I have a client who I love her as a client because I get to learn from her. I love it when you learn from your clients. And my client, Shanice Weiss Armstrong, she is a personal development and business coach. And what she taught me, Joy, I know you love this. I know it's your passion. I know you would do it for free. And there's a lot of things in life we would do for free. We'll say it all the time. I would do this whether I got paid or not. Just because you would do something, whether you got paid or not, doesn't mean you shouldn't get paid to do it. Okay? And if it's your ministry, that's fine too. But guess what? You can get both praised for your ministry and paid for your ministry. There is no shame in reaping fruit from your labor. It can still be a gift. It can still be a love. It can be a hobby. It can be a passion. It can be a ministry. But it can be a business, supplemental income, and generational wealth. It can be a business.
I love it. Whew. So, but before folks, we're not even into the meat of the program yet. I just want to let y'all know that. But before we get into the meat of this program, I want to go back and ask you one question based on something you said. You were telling us that you have been all up through and around this publishing business. And so I want to ask the question, which aspect of the business do you love the most? Which aspect of the business would you do for free, even though you ain't going to do it for free?
Teaching. Absolutely teaching. Because, I'm preaching to the choir here. You're a perpetual learner. You get so full of information. You can't bottle everything up and sell it. So I burst at the seams with information. Yeah, I have my signature packages and courses and programs, but that overflow, I believe when we have an overflow in life, that's what we allow other people to slip and slide in. I have so much to teach. I can't package it all up. I can't bottle it all up and sell it. So I do, and I don't really like to say I do it for free. Let's call it inbound marketing. That makes me feel a lot better.
Okay.
Let's call it inbound marketing. I'm putting information out there so that people will know they can come to me. She's putting this out there. And if she's putting this out there and I didn't even ask for it, I can only imagine how great the stuff is that I asked for and that has a price tag on it. Because this is free. This is free information. So what I get paid to do, I would do for free, which is teaching. And it's so funny because I remember when I first got saved and my pastor asked me, one of the first things he asked me was, what did God say you were going to be? What did God call you to be? And I didn't hesitate because it had been clear as day. God told me I was going to be a teacher. Now, I'm in religious mode, so I'm thinking it's going to be a Bible study teacher. I'm thinking it's going to be a Sunday school teacher, and I'm just thinking we're all going to hell because I can't remember a scripture to save my life. It's like, I'm going to run from this calling. I got the scripture in my head. I got it in my heart. I got it on my tip of my tongue, but I'm just not one of those people who can ramble off scriptures and quote the Bible. But when God told me I was going to be a teacher, that's where I went to. I went into religious mode. It's going to be Sunday school. It's going to be Bible study. So I'm on this literary journey, and I'm over 15 years in before God lets me know this journey was nothing about you, had nothing to do with you. And God knew what he was doing because I had all these goals for myself. When I entered this literary industry, I wanted to be a New York Times bestselling author. I wanted to have 1 million copies sold, stamped on my book. I wanted to have all of my books sold out at the end of my book signings and all of that great stuff. I was writing to become a famous author. That's what I was doing. And then I had my greatest aha moment, which I always say the greatest aha moment a person can ever have is when their life begins to make sense. When your life begins to make sense, the greatest aha moment ever, period, point blank. And so when I had that aha moment where everything started to make sense, when I asked God, I was at a literary event, and everybody in the room I felt was bigger than me, better than me, smarter than me, had more money than me. All the readers knew who they were. Their reputations preceded them, and I shrank and I shrank and I shrank because I knew my name was eventually going to be called because I was a presenter. And I just shrank because I said, nobody knows me. Nobody in this room knows me. They're not going to cheer. These people are cheering for folks before they even show their face, before they even get to the podium, before their name is even said. Their work, everything precedes them. And I shrank, and I remember in that moment my eyes even watered. And I remember just praying to God in that moment saying, God, one day, this is what I want to be able to walk into a room, and I want everybody to know who I am. And that was my prayer to God. And then I waited for God's response, and God's response to me was, me too. Me too. I'm God. I'm God, and people walk into a room. I can enter my presence, and everybody in the room doesn't know who I am. You want me to do it for you? Me too. I want that same thing. And so that's when I knew in that moment. I said, all this time, my why I was writing was based upon me becoming a famous author, me becoming this famous writer. And in that moment, I said, you know what? That's not why I'm supposed to be writing. I'm supposed to be writing to make God famous. I'm delivering his message, his word to his people through literary entertainment. I am on the journey to serve him and not to serve myself. And so that's when I started putting all the pieces of the puzzle together and realized this journey, it had nothing to do with me. I learned the things that I learned, not so that I could be a New York Times bestselling author, but so that I could help people deliver their own message. And you don't have to write Christian fiction like I write to deliver a message. When in Rome,
do as the Romans do. Absolutely.
Exactly. So there's a different language you speak, and I never want people to think that God's only delivering messages through Christian fiction. God's delivering messages through street lit. God's delivering messages through film. Who am I to say because you're not this, that, XYZ, go to church every Sunday, God's not going to use you? We know God will use the most filthiest person on the earth because when he started using me, I was filthy. You know, I'm still filthy. I just look real cute because, you know, I can dress it all up. You know, but God will use whoever. And he was using me, but yet I was making it all about me. But the moment I understood my why, and I had to revisit the why. Initially, my why was all about me. But now my why is about you. My why is about everyone else with a story, with a message, with a thought, with an idea, with a concept, with information that can help God's people. That can help God's people. And again, I don't care how minute you think that information you have is, it can help someone. It can help someone. And so that's what my journey was about. My journey was about helping other people get their messages out. Messages that could save, change, alter the world. Messages that were other people's portion. Because when we have something inside of us, it's not ours. Like I just said, that journey wasn't mine. It had nothing to do with me. Everything I learned is somebody else's portion. Everything we know, all of this information we have inside of us, all of these bright ideas, that's not ours. That's somebody else's portion. And as long as we keep it inside of us, guess what we're doing, Gerald? We're starving people.
Wow.
As long as you hold on to somebody's portion, you're starving someone. So the next time you're riding down the block and you see that guy with the sign that says, we'll work for food, what do you have inside of you that you didn't give the person that could have kept them off that corner with that sign?
That's powerful.
That's not going to be me. That's not going to be me. I'm sharing it. I'm giving it. I'm doing that. Anything that I think can help someone, I'm giving it. Do not hold on to someone else's portion. Don't do it.
I love it.
Do it. And that's that IP. That's that intellectual property. What do you have in there? That's mine. I want it. If you got something that's mine, I want it.
I'm going to let you know right now, you are speaking all of this life into me at this moment.
Oh, wow.
We're gonna get to that second portion, the teaching portion of this show here in a second, but I just needed to stop and let you know, like right now, in this moment is when I needed to connect with you, because I have been in a little bit of a downward spiral with this project for the last few months. It just, the motivation hasn't been there because I feel like there's so much to do, but there's so much maintenance that I have to do. And because I do so much energy into just doing the mechanical things that keep the show going, I feel stagnant at turning that intellectual property into something I can share with people, going through and improving this to where I can create a program that can sustain people and help them grow. And I've known it needs to get done, but it's the motivation has not been there. And listening to you right now, it is, I know the reason why, because I've lost sight of the fact that me not doing work is actually hurting people. It's not just a matter of, hey, I'm sitting to hold on this, I can do it a little bit later on because right now I'm not feeling it. Me sitting on this message that's inside of me, that's another day that people who need it are not getting it. So thank you for remotivating me to put my energy back into continuing to grow this project, because it's been on autopilot and it's been growing on its own for a while, but it could be doing a lot better. We could be helping a lot more people if I get that passion back in me to keep pushing it forward. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now from that,
you're welcome.
I know I gotta flip my page here because I already have a whole page of notes, and I know you're about to hit me with some even more valuable stuff. Let's go into the actual meat of the show. And you talked about the fact that the teaching part of the industry is the thing you love most, and I love that because we're about to do a little bit of inbound marketing right here in the Buy Black podcast. So you prepared a little bit of a lesson for us today to go into more detail for folks who are out there who have that book in them and who need to turn it into a stream of income for that business that is also inside of them. But I'm going to hand it over to you to talk to us about that. What is it that people need to do in order to get on that path and get prepared for that Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business conference that's coming up later on this year?
Okay. What people need to do, and this is just, you're putting this book out there. What's the first thing you need to do? Well, the first thing you don't need to do is wait for your book to get ready. So let me say what you need to do and what you don't need to do. What you don't need to do is wait for your book to get ready. What you do need to do is get ready for your book. So again, don't wait for your book to get ready. Get ready for your book. You know you have something inside of you. There's a question people are always asking. How did you do this? How did you do that? I have a cousin who her hair went to her ears her entire life. That's as long as her hair would grow. So she went on this journey. She went on this hair journey. And so for 2 years straight, she studied, she tried and tested and really learned and researched about hair products, about the African American hair, everything she could learn. It was a 2-year journey. By the time she finished this journey, her hair was down to her bottom. So what do you think everybody kept asking her? How'd you grow it? How did you grow it? How did you grow your hair? How did you grow it? She works for Chase. She doesn't work in a hair salon. She doesn't work for Pantene or Shea Moisture or anything. She works for Chase Bank. But people kept asking her this question. So you know what she did? She called me up. She said, cousin, everybody keeps asking me this. I need to put it in a book. I'm tired of answering people. I need to put it in a book. The next time someone asks me that, I'm sending them a link to buy the book. That's exactly what she did. We worked together. We got that information. One question. How'd you grow it? How'd you grow it? One question. And we put it in a book. And now every time anyone asks her that question, how'd you grow it? She sends them the link to a 10-page how-to. And it's called How I Grew It. How I grew it. Easy as that. So what is the question everybody's always asking you? How did you lose weight? How did you get rid of a pimple? See, I'm telling you people, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science, rather. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to put out a publication. It's that one thing that people need help with. People needed help with growing their hair. She saw the need. She wrote a book about it. She gets sales every day because people constantly ask her, how'd you grow it? How'd you grow it? Okay. So, but what she did is she read before she went and put that book out there. She read other books. So how do you get ready for your book? You read. How do writers and how do authors study the craft? By reading. See what other people are putting out there. And yes, you want to read in your genre, but you want to read outside of your genre as well. So you can learn the basic grammar, you can learn the basic punctuation, things of that nature. You want to look at another product that you want to emulate, okay? So that's the first thing you do to get ready for your own book is you read other people's books. Now, before I even say the next thing you do is start writing, most of you probably already have your book written. What do a lot of people come to me and say? They say, Joy, I want to write this book. I have this information. I have this thought idea. I want to get it out into a publication, but I'm not a writer. You don't have to be a writer to become a published author. So I repeat, for any of you who have been using that excuse, I'm not a writer. I don't like to write. I've had issues with the writing process since elementary school. You don't have to be a writer to have a published book. But even with that being said, I bet you've already written your book. I have seen some of the blogs you guys write. I have seen some of the articles you post on LinkedIn or some of the articles you post on Medium. I have seen your article marketing. I've subscribed to some of your article marketing. I've seen and I've read your newsletters. I've listened to your podcast. I've watched and sometimes listened to your videos. I may have your video up playing while I'm cooking dinner. I may not be watching it, but I'm hearing you. I'm reading your social media posts. Everything from tips and ideas that you give to prayers that you pray for people, to your own isms, to your own little slick posts and sayings. I've seen you post them for years. If you compiled every blog you've ever written, every article you've ever written, every podcast you've ever recorded, every video you've ever recorded, every social media post pertaining to a specific subject matter, and you put it together, you already written your book. Your book is already written. And I know this for a fact because I personally went through day one that I got on Facebook. I went through post one and I began to categorize my posts. I began to categorize business tips, personal. So I created these different categories and I would copy and paste each post inside that document. By the time I finished posting all of those years, I had 4 books. Your book is already written. If you are on social media and your podcast, transcribe it. Transcribe the podcast and put it in a book. Not everyone's going to listen to a podcast. People who need to hear this, people who need this information right now, unfortunately, they don't even know how to work it where they can listen to a podcast. They may, you say podcast and they look like the Riddler. There's a big question mark on their head. Take the podcast, transcribe it, and turn it into a publication. Or put all of your podcasts together, of course, clean them up, edit them, do what you need to do, turn it into an audio book. I'm telling you, people, your book is already written in some way, some form, some fashion, blog articles, even emails. People send me emails and they ask me a question. I will take my response from emails. I'll go through my sent email and I'll look at some of the questions I answered and I said, I bet you if this person had that question, there's a million other people out there who have this question. I'm going to copy and paste my answer and I'm going to put it in a book. I'm going to put it in a book and you can name it anything from my most useful resources tools. It can be something that simple. But if somebody has that question, there's a million other people out there who have it. Take your answer, get it edited, of course, clean it up, elaborate on it. But it's already a book. Your book's already written. Something as simple as going through your sent emails. All those people who have asked you questions. It's something as simple as going through LinkedIn or, again, whatever social media platforms you are on. When you go over and you put your 2 cents on somebody else's post, and then everybody says, great idea, great information, thanks for sharing, and you get all these likes and hearts, turn likes and hearts into dollars. Turn likes and hearts into dollars. I know when I hit something, when I get those likes, and when I get those hearts or whatever people are doing. And those don't give me the big head. I don't say, oh, wow, I got 3,000 views. Views and likes and hearts, they're amazing, but they don't feed my family. They don't feed my family. I don't want people to like me. I want people to believe in me and invest in me. I don't care whether people know me. Most of you listening out, you have no idea who I am. You've never heard of me. I'm not offended by that. I don't want you to know who I am. I want you to know what I do and how what I do can help you. So think of all the people you've helped. All of the people you've helped in years, even if it's about just going off on a social media post and replying to a question someone asked. If you took all of those, and trust me when I say, these social media platforms have the tools where you can go back and download all of your activities. Take LinkedIn, for example. LinkedIn allows you to go download every post you've ever made and any posts you've ever commented on. That right there is a book. That right there is a book. You like to do live videos? You like to do pre-recorded videos? Again, transcribe that information and put it in a book. People love to receive information in more than one way. In more than one way. And we'll get to that a little bit more. Let me move on because I know, the clock's ticking and I can teach forever. but I want to be mindful. I want to be mindful of time. Learn the writing process. How can you get ready for your book? Learn the writing process and the business of writing. Again, you don't have to write your book. You can speak your book. There's transcribers out here. There's apps out here, like the Dragon app. There's apps where you can speak, where you can talk your book. So again, the fact that you don't like writing or you can't type, no excuse. No excuse why you can't deliver someone else their portion that you have inside of you. Speak the book. Hire ghostwriters. Do what you need to do to get that information out. But learn the writing process and learn the business of writing. And that's why I called the conference Act Like an Author, Think Like a Business. For one, businesses don't make money, okay? I always say make your book your business. And I don't mean that in a sense that your book is your only stream of income, is your only source of income. I'll be the first one to say, when I first got into the writing business, that was the biggest mistake I made for years. It was all about the sale. It was all about the book sale, and it was all about the royalties versus creating multiple streams of income from that book, building from that book, and learning how to sell that book indirectly without, hey, I'm best-selling author E. and Joylynn, and I'm an author, buy my book. But how to put myself out there, position myself out there, position my book, brand myself, brand my business so that I make money and I free. So that with indirect book sales, okay? Learn the publishing process. And again, learn. Learn the writing process, learn the publishing process. I always tell authors, you wouldn't stand on a diving board over 9 feet of water and dive into the water without first learning how to swim on your own or hiring a professional coach to teach you how to swim. Same thing goes with the literary industry. And I'm sure it goes with almost any industry. You don't want to just dive into an industry. You don't want to dive into something and you don't know how to swim in it. You don't know how to navigate in it. Learn the publishing process. Learn the publishing process and the business of publishing. There are 5 aspects of the publishing process. It's writing, editing, design, the process itself, and marketing. So again, there's 5 aspects of publishing: writing, editing, design, the process itself, and marketing. And when I say the process, I mean things such as electronic catalog and publication, your copyright page, getting your intellectual property copywritten, book data, metadata, ISBN, advanced book information, BIFAC codes. All of these are part of a process that if you don't educate yourself, if you don't learn it, or if you don't hire a literary professional to teach you, missing one of these steps can cost you money or keep you from making money. So you want to take the time to learn. I know you want to get that message out there. I know you want to feed the people, but learn the process. Don't rush it. And then, of course, there's marketing, which most authors will tell you that's the hardest part. Writing the book was easier than marketing the book. Okay, because the marketing it's selling. It's the marketing and promotion. It's, I have this product, now I have to get it into the consumer's hands. So that leads into how else do you get ready for your book? By knowing who your audience is. Know who your audience is. Yes, your book may be able to save the world, bless the world. Maybe everybody under the sun can relate to your book. But you can't write a book for everybody. Because in essence, you're writing a book for nobody. Or you really don't even know yourself. Who are you writing it for? Who are you trying to help? Who do you want to help? Who is this information going to benefit most? That is your audience. That is your target audience. I have a target audience for my books when I put them out there. Now, you can always do what I call the bullseye effect. You guys see that bullseye, you know, that red and white bullseye, but the middle is the target. The middle is the target. Hit your target, then unwind. Hit your target, then unwind. Follow either the red or the white and unwind. Then you can start reaching out. But that's the bullseye effect. But before you do the bullseye effect, before you start unwinding and reaching this person and reaching that person, you want to make sure you hit your target first. So for me, for example, my initial target are authors. Authors. I wanted to hit that target. Authors. Aspiring authors. New authors. Even black authors. That was my target. So I hit my target. Now it's the bullseye effect. I'm branching out. Now I'm hitting consultants. Now I'm hitting coaches. You know, people in different industries. But I started with my target audience. You know, there's nothing wrong with being the big fish in the little pond. A lot of times we want to jump right over to the great big old ocean, okay? There's the million other fish in that big ocean. We become just one other fish in the ocean. We become a little fish in the ocean. I will be the great big fish over here in this little pond any day because you know exactly where to find me. I ain't that hard to catch. Mm. So you have to start thinking you want to be over there with everybody else. No, sir. Let them have at it. Let them all stay over there in that ocean trying to, you know, get hooked for someone to find them. But this big old fish over here in this great big pond, you can see me. My fins are stuck out. Here I am. Come catch me. Come get me. So you have to know who your audience is. Be specific. Then get your audience. Get your audience before you produce this book. Start generating an audience. You know the audience. Now you got to start hooking them in. Now you have to start targeting that audience. You have to hang out where that audience is hanging out. Whether, you know, it's virtually or in person. If you want this thing to be your business, then make sure you are networking and you are connected with your local chamber of commerce. Okay? So make sure you are where your audience is at. Make sure you are hanging out there, again, virtually and in person. I love social media that it's not the same as in person where they can't feel you, touch you, and know that you're a live body, know that you're a warm body, that you're not just this person behind a video camera trying to sell them a product, but that you are real. So nothing will ever take the place of in person. So don't just limit yourself to being virtual. Make sure you are in person wherever your audience is and get your audience first. Use social media. Use your local networking events. Again, your chamber of commerce, meetup groups. Meetup groups on meetup.com or whatever. But make sure you are getting that audience. Make sure you are getting people to know what it is you do and how what you can do can help them or their neighbor. Once people know what you can do to help, maybe they don't need your help, but maybe a sister does, maybe a neighbor does. Get them to know you and remember you. Get that audience. Begin sharing. Begin giving. Remember I mentioned that overflow. Start allowing people to slip and slide in your overflow. And don't start going backflips trying to get noticed. That's a mistake I made. Anything I tell you not to do means I've already done it.
It means you already went down that road. It doesn't lead anywhere. Go the other direction.
So when I say don't do it, I'm guilty as charged. I did it. That's why I'm telling you not to do it. So everything I'm telling you not to do, I did it. I've made enough mistakes for the both of us. There's no need for you to make them too. So either don't get on social media or even in person or even if you have the opportunity to present or be on the panel, forget about getting people interested in you. That should not be your main goal. What your goal should be is letting people know you are interested in them. I know a lot of times when I see people doing it, and like I said, I've done it for years. I thought my purpose and my mission should have been getting people to take note of me, getting people interested in what it is I do, getting people interested in me. When all along I should have been showing that I had a genuine interest in them, that I had a genuine interest in helping them. So make sure you are mindful of how you're presenting yourself. Even with a book, I hear so many authors begin to tell you how great their book is. And I'll listen and I'll purposely ask, hey, what's your book about? Or tell me a little about your book. They'll tell me how great it is and how, you know, it's the next best thing to John Grisham's book or Terry McMillan's book or Zane's book. And they go on and on and on and on and on about how great their book is. And all the while I'm sitting there in my head and saying, I don't care about how great your book is. I care about all the great things your book can do for me. And as authors, I think it's almost with anything. I won't even just say as authors. I hope that I'm sharing information that you can apply to your business no matter what industry you're in. But it's not about how great our service is. It's not about how great our product is. It's about the great things it can do for someone else. It just goes back to people want help. People need help. So when we're pitching, and I call it pitching 101, who cares about how great your product is? Nobody cares about how great your product is, your service is, your program is, your package is. With me teaching, nobody cares about how great my curriculum is. People care about the results. People care about the great things it will do for them. So we have to be mindful in that when we're getting that audience. Another thing to get ready for your book, determine your why for writing. Determine your why for publishing and determine your why for selling the book. Those are three different things that should have three different thought processes. Because, like I said before, I write for free. I will write for free whether I got paid to write or not. But I can't write for free. So when people say they will write for free, you can blog, you can post it, hey, it's free, I'm writing for free. You can go to Wattpad. I'm writing for free. I said I will write for free. I'm writing for free. Okay, why publish then? Why did you publish? Okay, so that's different. Why did I publish? Because I wanted to reach the multitude. I wanted to reach the masses. I wanted to create different formats and versions in order to reach my audience wherever they are, however they may see fit. If I just wanted to write for free, I can do that. I can write for free. I can post it on social media. I can put it up on Wattpad. I can do free blogs. I can put it in articles. You can write for free. So your why for writing has nothing to do with your why for publishing or selling. Okay, so now we've got the why publish. I wanted to reach the masses. Okay, that's great. If it's still not about money, then why are you selling it? And it just goes back to it takes money to move a message. Your why for writing a book, your why for publishing a book, and your why for selling a book. Three different thought processes. I've worked with clients who honestly wrote and published a book and did not sell it. They gave it away. They gave it to shelters, or people made donations. They worked that donation right over to their favorite charity. Their why was not to make money. And I get that. That's not my why. That is not my why. I have a why I write, I have a why I publish, and I have a why I sell. I want to make money. I sell, and whenever you say sell, it means transaction. It means a financial transaction taking place. It means you're in business, you're doing a business transaction. How can you not say you want to make money in the same breath as you say you're building a business? Mm-hmm. It's an oxymoron. You can't, or asinine, or how it depends on how you word it and how you say it. If I'm going to get into the book business, it means I want to make money. This is my business. No one goes into a business not to make money, because if you don't make money, your business will bankrupt and crash, and you cannot move your message. And again, this goes for even if you want to open up a candy shop on the corner. So you want to open up a candy shop on the corner because you remember back in your days, you had that corner store carry out where you went and bought the potato chips and the pop and the Chico sticks and all of that great stuff. And then you went back to Granny's house or Auntie's house and you had a picnic in the basement or the backyard with all of that. So you want to bring back memories. You're opening up a candy store on the corner because you want to know your neighbors. You want to be that go-to place. You want to hear the neighborhood gossip. You want to know everything that's going on in the community. You want to be that smiling face your neighbors can come in and see every day. That's great. But you have to make money to be able to continue to do that. If you're not making the money to be able to smile and be a pillar in the community, then it's going to flop, and it's all going to be in vain. Unless you're living off some trust, or unless you just have the money, to be in the red. Right. If you have the money to be in the red, but when you don't, it takes money to continue to fulfill your mission. It takes money to deliver that message. So how do you get ready for your book? You determine Do you want this to be a business? Do you want it to be a side hustle? Or do you want it to be both? It can be a business. It can be a side hustle. It can be both. It can be none of the above as well. Again, it could just be your ministry. I have worked with authors. It's their ministry. They don't charge a nickel for the book. They don't charge a nickel. But what separates them from the people who say, I don't write for the money, they're not charging. You are. So you got to be careful about your why. If you say you're not writing for the money, then why are you charging me $14.95?
Right.
Because you got to move your message, right? So it goes back to your why you write, why you publish, why you sell. I work with authors who do not sell their books. They know their why and they stand by their why and they don't collect a dime. And if someone makes a donation, like I said, it goes to the charity, it goes to the shelter. So, and it's okay if you want this to be your side hustle because your main business is consulting. Your main business is coaching. Your main business is baking cakes. Whatever your main business is, and you're using this publication, you're using this book as supplemental income, or you're using this book, again, to validate yourself as an expert in your area, it can be the side hustle. It can be the side hustle. You know, you're making, money outside of your consulting or outside of your speaking engagement. But you want to make sure that if it's a side hustle, that you're still treating and operating like a business and that you're not just hustling books. Because there is a difference from having a side book hustle and hustling books. I think when it comes to hustling, and there's no negative connotation at all when it comes to the word hustle. Hustle is a good thing. Hustle keeps you hungry. Hustle makes you work hard. Hustle is what keeps that fire burning under you. But don't just be hustling guerrilla style. Hustle a plan. Hustle a plan. It's okay to have a book hustle, but also make sure it is a book business and that you're not just hustling books with anything in life. When you're hustling guerrilla style, you can't really be accountable for what's going on. You can't take a hustle to the bank and get a loan. You can't take a hustle to the bank and get the car in the business name. You can't take a hustle to investors. When you are operating like a business, you have a plan. You have a business plan. You have a marketing plan. You have projections. You have goals. That's the difference between hustling guerrilla style and hustling a plan. And hustling a plan. Because hustling can wear you out. It can make you look busy, but it may not necessarily be productive unless you are hustling a plan. Period, point blank. And it costs. It costs to hustle. It costs to, again, to move the message. It costs to put these publications out there. And it just goes back to what I said about our intellectual property. It is priceless. I get it. But you have to determine what price tag you want to put on it. Because it costs to move that book. It costs to move that publication. It costs to move that message. We have to pay for internet. We have to pay for devices. We have to pay for our electric bill. We have to pay for our devices. We have to pay for, the electric bill to use our devices on. We have to pay to travel. We have to pay for lodging, marketing, branding, all of that stuff. It costs. And again, unless you have money that you just want to say, I'm investing. I'm investing in this because I want to give it away. Then, of course, you don't necessarily have to put a price tag on it. You don't have to put a price tag on it. If you can afford to give it away and keep your business running, if you can afford to be in the red every single month, day in and day out, then no, you absolutely don't have to put a price tag on it. Which is why, to get ready for your book, you need to determine, what is this? Is this just going to be a hobby? Is this just going to be a passion? Is it going to be a ministry of love? Is it going to be a business? Is it going to be a side hustle? And then you need to move and act and operate accordingly. Because if I'm great at baking cakes, I'm not going to spend the weekend baking cakes, then come Monday try to figure out how to sell the cake. I'm not going to wait for my cakes to get ready. I'm going to get rid of my cakes and have a plan for it. Okay? I want to know by the time I'm baking these dozens and dozens of cakes, how am I going to unload them? Where is this audience? How have I connected with this audience? Who even knows I'm baking cakes? Who even knows I'm baking cakes? And again, a lot of times we get so fixated on people knowing who we are, on knowing our names. We forget to tell them what we do and how we can help. So if nobody knows you make the best cakes in the South, how are you going to sell them? I'm going to keep going to my local grocer, and I could be going to you, and you're my neighbor. And you never mentioned, you never shared. I know your name, but I don't know what you do. And I don't know how what you do can help me. So those are just some of the things. You know, I'll stop there, I know. I wanted to at least give, some information on, there's a lot of people who say, let me wait for my book to get ready. Or again, not just your book. Whenever we want to take a leap of faith, whenever we know we should be doing something or we should start this new endeavor, we have all these different excuses. And I know in my industry, let me just wait for my book to get ready. I hear you, Joy. I know you got everything I need over there to be successful, to build this book, to build a book business, to create multiple streams of income, but let me wait till my book gets ready. No, get ready for your book. We'll replace that with get ready for your business.
Love it. So that last thing you just said, that imagery that you just gave me of somebody in the kitchen slaving over a cake, I had this thought process went through of, that person is standing there and they love baking cakes.
Yes.
And they're going out and they're spending the money for the ingredients to bake the cake. And they're putting the time and the energy and the effort and the love into baking that cake, and they take it out and they let it cool and they put the icing on it and they do all this beautiful stuff. And then next thing you know, you look around and they're in a house full of rotting cakes because ain't nobody there to buy them. They just love baking cakes, and they're wasting their time and their energy and their resources into something that just sits in the house and rots because they didn't first go out and find out, hey, who's having a wedding this weekend that needs a cake? And that the way you just laid that out, I think hit me harder than anything else of why it is so important to get ready for your book and get ready for your business by building the audience first. You have to know that there is a market for your message, people who need to have that problem solved, before you go into the kitchen and you put all your energy and effort into baking this big, beautiful cake that's just going to sit there on the shelf. That I know that it's probably been said 50 million different ways, but the imagery of what you just said there just completely hit me, and it convicted me of, Gerald, you need to get out of the kitchen, quit baking all these cakes.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. No, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I mean, that was probably one of the most powerful segments that we've had on the show, and I can tell you, you started with your target audience with people who want to be writers and authors, but I know every single thing that you said right there, it spoke to me as a person who does consulting and coaching. It spoke 100% to why we have to look at our intellectual property as all of those things that we have put out into the world. I cannot imagine if I went back through my Facebook from the last 10 years and was able to download all of the things that I wrote. Because I mean, I used to be I was a Facebook warrior. I've got paragraphs on paragraphs on paragraphs. I was like, man, if a person just took the time to do that, you have created a product. You've already done it. So you just hit me with like 5 different activities that I can take immediately to start creating that value and collecting the information that will eventually be one or many of the books that I already have inside of me. I could spend the next hour talking about how every single thing you just said is going to change my life. But instead of doing that, because that's what the beauty of a podcast is, it's going to be out here forever. We can always come back to it. I'm going to ask you my next question in the series to try to get a little bit more of this value out of you to share with the audience. So the next question I want to ask is, in your career, in life, however you want to take this question, what is the biggest challenge that you have faced, and how did you overcome it?
It's transitioning periods. I keep finding myself in these transitioning periods. I think I'm going to do this, and this feels right, and this is what it's going to be, but then I transition to something else. When I started this industry, I was a secular author. I was writing chick lit. I was writing erotica. I was writing gritty, street, urban lit, and I had an audience. And I got this, this 6-figure book deal. And then all of a sudden I go to church and I fall in love with Jesus and I get saved, and I can't do some of the things I used to do. I can't go to some of the places I used to go. I can't say some of the things I used to say, and I can't write some of the things I used to write. And so as an author, especially as a fiction author, we write what we know, we research what we don't know, and then we make up all the rest, but there's an authenticity to it. And the readers know it, and the readers feel it, and the readers know your voice and your style and how you move as an author. So I could no longer give them what I had been initially giving them because I wasn't living that life anymore. It wasn't flowing through my spirit, so I had to make a transition to enjoy the Christian fiction author. I literally had to start from scratch. I had to rebrand myself. A little bit I know all the people who love my, little raunchy books, they didn't transition with me. I thought they were going to come. I thought they loved me. I thought they liked me, the author. They liked what I did. They liked what my book did for them. That's just confirmation. It's not about you. It's about what you do and how what you do affects other people and helps them. They didn't care about me. They didn't care about Joylynn M. They cared about the product I was delivering. And it was no longer the product they liked. They loved me as an author when I was delivering what they wanted. So I had to rebrand myself. I had to find an entire new audience. It was so challenging. It was so discouraging. It was building from scratch. And I was just sure they followed me. They liked me. My Sally Fields was like, they really like me. When she won the Oscar. But I'm just like, oh my goodness. So it was challenging. But I had to rebuild. I had to rebrand. I got that audience. I'm like, yes, I'm in my calling. This is what God wants me to do. He wants me to deliver his word, through the written word, through literary entertainment. And then all of a sudden, there's this new transition. God's tapping me on the shoulder again. Time to put down the pen. Time to pick up the spotlight and hold it on other authors. Time to teach them what you know. So now I'm transitioning from this best-selling author in joy. I'm in the spotlight. I'm on the stage. And now you want me to get behind the scene and hold the spotlight on other authors. You want me to teach them everything I know. Not going by the mantra, well, I taught her everything she knows, but not everything I know. No. Teach them everything they know. And when their season is up with you, let them go. So now I'm like, wow. It's just been so challenging because now I have to find and brand myself with a new audience, the authors themselves. And some won't saw me as their competitor. Now I got to say, let me teach you, and how's that going to come off? Is it going to come off as arrogant? And it doesn't help that I, coined myself the literary know-it-all. But I only coined myself the literary know-it-all because I want authors to know it all when it comes to their literary careers. But I find those transitions so challenging because each and every time I became a different person. I brought a different set of values, and I had to find that audience all over again. And I think this is the most challenging, going from author, writer, publisher to now teaching other people how to be author, writer, publisher, because people come to me and they come to my conferences and I teach them how to become publishers. They don't want to write their own books. They don't want to write their own stories. They want to publish other people. They want to give other people a vehicle and a platform to get their ideas out there. So I teach them as well. And so now I have to get my colleagues and my peers to look at me as an authority. And that's been my challenge. That's been my challenge. But I love a good challenge.
Love it.
I love a good challenge. Do I sound like I'm ready to give this thing up any day? No,
ma'am.
sir.
I love it. So following up, another question I have for you, and this is a new question for the show, that's born out of the episode I just did. The last episode I did, I talked about productivity tools that I found that help me automate some processes and help me clear up a whole bunch of time in my development of this business that I'm working with, the podcast and with my coaching business. And so with that, I wanted to ask you, what is one of the most powerful tools that you use that helps you to save time and be more efficient in running your business?
The funnel of the funnels, the funnel where I actually put my products and my services inside of a funnel. And it's just like, for anybody who's not familiar with the funnel is, just picture this tornado and picture literary consulting services, picture publishing courses, picture editing services. They're all in this funnel, and you can hop into that funnel and you can start connecting with all those different services. Once I know you're interested in one service in that funnel, I'm going to communicate with you through drip mails, emails, or sequence emails, whatever you refer to them as. And I'm going to stay connected with you so that you'll be in the know with my product. And you can get these products electronically. So before I would teach a course, and I would teach hours and hours with one person, or maybe 10 or 100 people would sign up, what have you. This way, I have it recorded, talking about my courses specifically. It's recorded, it's in that funnel. People from all over the world can get that course. And I'm able to reach more people in person and one-on-one, because now I can be physically present somewhere where otherwise I would have had to teach this one-on-one. I would have had to do this one-on-one consulting. So I take questions, I take issues, I take problems that authors and writers have, and I create courses, and I put that course in the funnel. So now when someone asks me, well, how do I do a pre-order campaign? Or I have all these book reviews. Now what do I do with these book reviews? There's a course in that funnel that they can take. I don't have to do a one-on-one consulting call or anything like that. It's in there. If 100 people have the question, I don't have to sit with each person one-on-one. They can all go in that funnel. Now, let me just say this. Put products, services, and programs in funnels, not people. I do not put people in those funnels. It's the funnel that frees up my time so that I can be present for people. So I have private communities. I have the Path to Publishing private Facebook group. And then on the Path to Publishing website, we also have a members-only corner. And I'm present in those. But if I didn't have this funnel offering my programs and services and answering all of these questions that writers and authors have, I wouldn't have the time to be present. I wouldn't have the time to answer questions one-on-one. I feel like when we're coaches and consultants, when we are any type of teacher, we have any type of program or service or product, once someone signs on the dotted line and they have that product, or say their consulting or coaching term is over with us, they should still have access to us. Because when we're in the teaching stage, a lot of times there's not many questions as there are when you're actually to the point where you're going to implement and execute. So while I'm teaching you, you may have a few questions, but once you're actually implementing and executing these things I taught you, you may have more questions. But if I'm nowhere to be found, then how are you going to be successful with that product or that service that I gave you or that you invested in? Because remember, it's not about how great my product or service is or my curriculum. It's about the results you get. And if I'm not available to make sure you get the best results possible, then that's not a good look for my company. Mm-hmm. When you're a teacher,
you're not fully giving them that portion.
Yes. And like you said, with consulting and coaching, you know this, that my success is based on my client's success. If they don't win, I lose. If they don't win, I lose. So I love it, and I use ClickFunnels. I built my funnel through ClickFunnels. So I love being able to I can't remember the quote, but I got this from someone who I think I bought one of their courses or something, and she just said, do it one time great and just do it one time great. Which means do it one time great, package it up and sell it. Don't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. Don't keep teaching that course over and over and over again. Do it once, do it well, and sell it. Put it in that funnel and go help other people who need help. And so that's what I love about my funnel. So, and I use ClickFunnels. I'm sure there's different funnels, but I'm sold on ClickFunnels. So www.clickfunnels.com.
Well, and that's what we're going to share with the people, because we definitely want to provide them with tools that we believe in, that we use. There may be something quote unquote better out there, but I hadn't found something that was better for me. So that's what I'm going to tell you about. I love it. So with that, the next thing I want to do is I want to give you the opportunity to tell everybody more detail about what's coming up next. Talk to us about this 3-day conference that's coming up later on in the year, and how people can start preparing themselves for that conference so they can get there and they can become even better author business people.
Yes, they act like an author, think like a business. 2018 conference. It is being held September 20th, 21st, and 22nd in the still fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. We are going to be building books on day one. We are going to be going beyond the basics of self-publishing, beyond the basics of publishing. So it doesn't matter if you are traditionally published, if you are self-published, if you have a literary agent, if you are POD. This conference is for you, because you want to know every single step in the publishing process. If you have a publisher who is publishing your book for you, how do you know your publisher is doing what they're supposed to do if you don't know what they're supposed to do? You don't know what you don't know. So we're building books in a spirit of excellence. We're publishing like pros. We're learning every single step of that self-publishing process, of the publishing process as a whole, right down to task and pre-publication campaigns that should take place before your book is even written, to post-publication and to marketing and promotion. We're covering everything, and that's day one. On day two, we're building that book business. Literally, we're going to be talking about name registration, when to incorporate, or whether you should even incorporate. We're going to talk about protecting your businesses with disclaimers. We're going to talk about contracts. We're going to talk about agreements. We're going to talk about taxes. Everything business related, the EIN, we're going to talk about your DUNS number. Everything business related. We are going to make sure you are covered, so that you don't spend all this time building a book business, and then Uncle Sam comes by and crushes your dream and your business. And then on day 3, we're going to talk about building multiple streams of income in order to sustain that book business. There's so many things that authors should be doing to maximize and to optimize and to monetize their role as an author. But so many of them don't know the full job description of an author. And being an author goes beyond writing a book, publishing a book, and selling a book. We're going to go over 4 dozen ways to create multiple streams of income as an author, and ways to make money from your book outside of the book content. So we're going to think outside the book when it comes to making money. When I first got into this business, I lost sleep trying to figure out ways to make money. And now I make money in my sleep from my book business. And what's so great about this conference is that when you register, you automatically receive access to the Path to Publishing private Facebook group, where I am the admin. And so in that group, I prep you for the conference, because it's going to be 3 days of rigorous learning. 3 days of rigorous learning. And the more you know when you get there, the less time we'll have to spend on Q&A, and the more I can teach. So that's how I'm preparing those who have already registered for the conference, so that they don't get there and feel overwhelmed, so that they know a little something before they even get there, and they'll know the right questions to ask. So this conference, I'm excited. Again, I'm biased, but I think I know the curriculum is amazing. I was looking at another conference that's taking place, I want to say in Connecticut. It was Connecticut or Colorado. And it was, if I had to say it was a competing conference, that would be the one. And it was almost $6,000. So I went through last year's conference, set up, read the reviews, looked at this year's with a fine-tooth comb, and they're not covering, not even 25% of what my conference is covering. It's not one of those conferences where you're going to come here, you're going to come and listen to industry professionals speak for 45 minutes and you're going to take notes. You're going to get take-home curriculum to implement. Any resource, any option, any tidbit, any tip, any cheat sheet that I teach from, that I teach you, you get to take home. And this is information I will never publish. You will never see this on sale at Amazon, in Barnes & Noble. This is information for those who want to make sure their book hustle is also a book business and that they are not just hustling books. The Path to Publishing community, we are more than writers writing books. We are literary architects building literary empires. We are making money as writers. We are making money as authors. And if anyone has told you that you can't make money as a writer, it's because they couldn't figure out how to do it. So don't let anyone tell you you cannot take your intellectual property and build an empire with it. If Kim Kardashian can build an empire with her butt, we can build an empire with our books.
Wow, that is beautiful. You got too many quotes. You know what? I think you need to package up all the quotes that you gave us in this show, and I think you need to publish those in a book. Because that's too good.
God, Joylynn M quote.
So moving on, the last two things we have. Where do people go so that they can sign up for this conference? Where do they go to sign up for the conference? And where do they go to find more information from you, your books, your consulting, your coaching, the conference coming up? Give us those contact pieces so we can make sure we get them in the show notes.
Well, I definitely want to make sure that you follow me. Because, my inbound marketing, I'm constantly putting that information out there. I'm constantly putting out content that can help you. So please follow me on Facebook under Joylynn M. Ross. Follow me on LinkedIn, Joylynn M. Ross, or Author E. Enjoy. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I am on Pinterest. I am on Periscope. Look up Joylynn Ross. Look up Author E. Enjoy. And my company, Path to Publishing, www.path2publishing.com, and that's T-O, not the numeral 2, www.path2publishing.com. Hit our website, and you're going to see information where you can sign up for our free newsletter. You will get free writing and publishing tips sent straight to your email address. You can also sign up for our members-only portion of the website, where you actually get to interact in our forum with other authors and other literary professionals. And on the Path to Publishing website, you can click conferences and events, and you can learn more about the conference this September, and you can also register for the conference this September. Again, that's www.pathtopublishing.com. And if you are interested in my reads as best-selling author Enjoy, by all means, visit my author website at www.enjoywrites.com. That's www.enjoywrites.com.
Perfect. That is wonderful. I can already tell you right now, I'm already strategizing my way to how I'm going to get to this conference, because I've interacted with some other folks earlier this year about writing a book and getting it ghostwritten and doing all this kind of stuff. And, the amount of money they're talking about versus the amount of money that you're talking about, so I can come in and I can learn this whole process myself and become part of a community, two completely different things. And so I'm already strategizing. How do I get to Vegas? So I'm looking forward to it. The last question I have for you today is the question that I end every episode with, because I love to hear the answers. I love to get the wisdom from folks who have been doing this out in the world. And so I have to know, what is your number one piece of advice for our Buy Black podcast community as a whole?
Please don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Please do not be afraid to invest in your business. If you don't even want to invest in yourself and your business, why would anyone else want to invest in you and your business? We have to stop sitting at the feet of these experts, at the feet of their table they're eating from, collecting crumbs, trying to put together a full loaf of bread. If we would just pay for the investment, for the entire meal, for the entire spread to be laid out for us, and we sit at the table, not kneeling and begging technically for free information. Again, trying to put these crumbs together for this entire loaf of bread. For anyone with an interest in writing and publishing a book, and writing books and publishing books for someone else, the full spread is available. You do not have to gather crumbs. We have to start investing in ourselves and investing in our businesses if we want others to. That is my advice to my community. Please. And if you don't have all of the money up front to make your vision, your dreams come true, to build your business, put it on layaway. The same way you put that purse on layaway, the same way you put those shoes on layaway, put it aside. It is an investment in you. It is an investment in your business. It is an investment in your children and generational wealth. Don't be afraid to invest in you and your business.
Whew, Joylynn, let me tell you, you have been more than a breath of fresh air, at least for this man. I know there have got to be a whole lot of folks out in the audience who are jumping up and down in their seats as they're driving down the road right now, or had to pull off to the side with that pen and paper, because I know I'm 3 or 4 pages of notes in. You have just blessed us with so much today. And I highly encourage everybody, same thing, that same piece of advice, invest in yourself, invest in your business. And this is where that investment comes from. You find a platform like this one where you're getting access to beautiful brains like this that Joylynn has for free, and that's giving you the crack in the door to find out, where do I need to go to actually invest in myself. So if you are in this business, or if you're headed towards the business of writing, or if you know that writing is going to need to be a part of your expertise, of your business out in the marketplace, this is a conference that you definitely want to make sure that you can attend, or at the very least, connect with Joylynn and take a look at her training programs and her books and everything that she offers, and invest in the books, invest in the training, invest in hiring a coach or a consultant, because I can tell you from experience, trying to figure out every bit of this thing on your own, bit by bit, piece by piece, it's a long process. You learn a lot in the process, but it is a long and slow process, and it can be accelerated by simply connecting with experts like Joylynn and then learning directly from them at a great program like the conference is coming up. So Joylynn, thank you so much for being here with me today, and everything that you have shared. You brought my energy level way up, and I needed it, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You have been a complete blessing today.
Thank you. Thank you again for having me. I appreciate you. I appreciate you sharing your platform with me. That to me is absolutely priceless. So thank you so much.
Awesome, awesome. Well, folks, you guys have heard it. You have got it all. And the beautiful thing about this podcast, you can go back, you can rewind it, you can listen to it again if you missed something. So we will catch you next week in another great episode of Buy Black. Thanks for coming out today. We are out of here.